Okay, so this is August update. I'm running a little late. We've all been a little under the weather in August. So I have a little bit of a tickle still. So if I cough, I'm sorry in advance. But I'm really excited to do this update so that we can document um, what we've been doing. Um, and I couldn't, I think overall we're at about the 6 week mark for school in the fall. It's been a lot different this year. I think um, I don't know if I'm different or she's different or some of the strategies we're using now are different or I'm better at picking curriculum or that we started early. I'm not sure, but things are going really, really well. And we actually went to Alaska the first week in August. I have our calendar here. And I did count 2 of those days as school days. We did a lot of tours. We saw a lot of animals. We did a lot of museums. We really had a wonderful time. And that really took up a whole part of the first week of Alaska. First week of August. So I only counted, let's see, actually I counted 1, 2, 3, 4 of those 10 days because we really did some formal learning on those days. Then we got jumped back in, and then so in August we had Mrs. E still coming for math twice a week. We've gotten through long division. So we really honed in addition, subtraction, multiplication, and long division. And so now we're going into fractions. So if you had told me we would be past long division at the end of August, I would have never believed you. So that's going really well. What I had been doing to support Mrs. E is she really does 2 hours of work. She tries to introduce any new topics, and then I do some support of that. I was really just using Teachers Pay Teachers and printing out sort of long division with grid. Now, Serney really likes the graph paper and the gridding, so I try to do that as much as possible. In September, I was on a Facebook page. I think it was Hearth Story's Facebook page, and I kind of got into a conversation with someone else who also homeschools and works, and our kids seem to be really similar, and she recommended something called Kitten Math, and so I said, well, I'll order it and see. I think I would have been miserable doing this. Basically, it's like you are fostering 4 kittens, and you have to shop for them, and there's like money and decimals and schedules and ratios, and it's all kinds of stuff, and she has really loved it. We've done like 5 or 6 days out of 30, and it's going really well, and she's really enjoyed it. So I'm thankful that I found Kitten Math. It's a 30 days, so we're going to do this and then sort of see where to pivot from there. But since we're doing decimals with Mrs. E and there's decimals in this from a money perspective, this is what we're going to do for math. And we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping to finish that in October because it probably take me 5 weeks or so. And then for language arts, the surprise of the year was Hearth Story, and I have really been pleased with Hearth Story. I also have gotten a lady who is a retired teacher, lives in our neighborhood. She's doing reading with Serenity twice a week. So she's getting 2 hours of intensive one-on-one reading with a specialist who's a retired educator, and she's getting 2 hours of math with a current educator at her level. So that feels really good, and that could be why it feels like a lot of pressure is off. We seem to just be really in stride. Maybe she's having some confidence and feeling some less stress about some of the new stuff. So for language arts, we're doing Hearth Story, and I had sort of made this really complicated schedule where I was like doing, depending on the day, like I was sort of saying like some days we'll do this and some days we'll do this, because I use the Hearth Story for grammar, 5th grade, grammar, spelling, novel studies, grammar, spelling, novel studies, writing, which we're using 4th grade, not 5th grade. There's like brain food, and then there's something else. And so then I also wanted to keep Fix-It grammar and keep 180 days of spelling, because I really like how it requires you to do synonyms and antonyms, because that shows up a lot on testing. And so I was alternating those. And what I found was like, she just rolls through the work. I mean, she's really good. And so actually we do all of it. So we do both grammars, Hearth Story grammar and Fix-It grammar every day. And we do both spelling, Hearth Story spelling, and then we do the 180 days of spelling, which is more like a vocabulary. Now, she is not a tester. She still resists any kind of testing, so that just may take more time before she's willing to do that, but she's definitely learning stuff. The book we are reading right now is called Over the Moon by Natalie Lloyd. That's part of the novel studies from Hearth Story. It's the book number 1. Technically, we should be through it. It has 26 chapters, and we're on chapter 17 maybe. We don't do that every day. She doesn't do independent reading, so that is my reading to her, and we do a lot of audiobooks, so I wanted us to do these books together as a read aloud, and so we do that at night, and then we sort of catch up with the paperwork the next time we do school. I was saying neither of us have loved this book, though I think it's very well written. So it's dragging just a little. It's fine. It's a very good, cute book, and it's a bit of fantasy, which is not a genre that her and I love, but that's fine. We're getting through it. It's getting more interesting as we're getting closer to the end. So I think we're both excited to sort of see how it ends, because we just got to the part where we figured out the mystery of the town, so that's good. And the way Hearth Story does their novels, they do a novel, then a short story, a novel, and short story. And then poetry is the other thing. So there's poetry we do once a week from Hearth Story. So at first I was really stressed that we were not going to be able to finish the novel studies quick enough. I'm just not going to worry about it. We're just going to keep going and pushing through all of that until we see what happens. So I'll judge, and then if we have to do a bunch of catch up over like Thanksgiving or Christmas when I have some time off, then we'll do it. We'll just listen to the audiobook on a trip or something and just kind of get through it. But for now, I want to still do the one-on-one. So then that covers kind of language arts and math. So we're getting a lot of that in, and that's gone really, really well. We're doing Sassafras Science. We're on book 3, that's botany. Not the most exciting science right in the world. This time I got this book, I just wanted to try to like figure out what it was we were supposed to learn, because we loved the books, we were listening to the books, but I wasn't like able to quantify what we were actually learning or understanding like what the point of. And it's really interesting to me because there's like these curriculums are so well done, and there's so much in them you can do. And so I think that's also part of it, is like me sort of figuring out how to use curriculum and not just listening to the books. So the chapters are long, and you have to get through 18 chapters a semester. So you're really supposed to do 2 books a year. We love the stories. So when we're driving anywhere that's like 15 or 20 minutes, we listen to Sassafras in the car because it's an interesting mystery. And then we come back to this book, and there is a nice summary of the chapter. So we can always like go back. Excuse me. So we're always like a little ahead in the book than we are in the subject's information, and so we can. This book has a really nice summary. This is a solid curriculum. I mean, I have mixed feelings about her not getting sort of what the standard says to get. Our evaluators, I mean, we teach science, we tell them we're teaching science, but the evaluators really only look at language arts and math. So like science is kind of a pass. And so am I like, should I be teaching her wavelength and angles and pulley and simple machines? Maybe. Um, but I'm hoping eventually, so we've done animals and anatomy, and now we're doing botany. So I'm hoping eventually some of the books that are coming up later on will hit some of those things that we haven't done formally that the school's doing. So there's some insecurity with Sassafras, but it is science. We're learning science and we're enjoying the book. So it's literature based in the sense that it's a book with it, it's secular, and it's a fun curriculum. So we've really not done any states in August. I think we did Alaska because we were going there, and like maybe one other state, but we kind of haven't got back in our state study because we spent a lot of time like reviewing. What happens is we like say, okay, we got to do states, and it's on our loop, and then we're like, oh, but we haven't done states in like a week. So now we have to review the old states and capitals so we make sure we know before we start the new one. So I don't think that's working as well on a loop schedule. So I'm thinking about putting it in every day and just doing a much smaller chunk. So like just do the states and capital the one day, then just do the animals one day. So like really breaking it up instead of doing like a big chunk, like the whole state in one day, doing a little bit every day so that we can keep doing that review every single day. And and that's Wallach Way, which again is such a good curriculum. There's so much in there, more than you'll ever be able to use. So that's great. Then we're using Curiosity Chronicles for, all right, so it's U.S. history in the schools. And I think, I'd heard so many great things about Curiosity Chronicles, and I like the way it's laid out. I like that it's podcast style, right? Because these two people are talking. I like that it's snippets, so it's like 20-minute chapters from the audiobook. I like that there's an audiobook. I like that they have the Minecraft projects, but she never finishes them because they keep having them, and she's like, I didn't even finish the last two. And then there's like, we do some of the workbook stuff. So just as a review, we like do the terms and maybe we do another things, but history is not my thing. Both my kids are really good at history, so she may feel very differently, but I can't follow it. And then I'm like, but where's the United States? So it's like early modern, which is early modern, and then it was like, but we wanted U.S. history, so like, I don't know. So we're going to stick with it because the U.S. is coming, and what it does, it's just a great job at like covering lots of the world, and like I'm learning so much in the build up to the United States, and I like that it includes other countries, but it also like complicates it, and I also do want to cover the important U.S. history that we need to get to this year. Hey, Ziva. So we're going to keep going. We're going to finish it. It's been hard because we have to find time to listen to the audiobook, which is in the car when we're often listening to Sassafras. And then it's hard to remember the dates because it's audiobook. So we probably need to listen to the audiobook while we're looking at the text and the pictures. I think that would be more effective. So I did pivot a little for next semester. I think I'm going to try History Quest U.S. History because it's good, and I'm going to pick up like where it's kind of going to time well with the end of early modern, and then we can sort of pick up that first part of U.S. history that they're supposed to cover up till the Civil War in the spring, and then after the Civil War next year. And History Quest has it all in that one book, but it's for a whole year. So I think it's going to work out perfectly to finish Curiosity Chronicles, which will get us to somewhere in the 1800s, I think, and then do U.S. history from History Quest, to see if we can close the gaps for some of that U.S. history that's missing in Curiosity Chronicles. And then they had a 25% off sale, so it seemed like a no-brainer. So we're going to try something else. We may end up back at Curiosity Chronicles. I don't know. But that's what we're going to do for next semester. But for now, we're going to try to get through. And it's possible that that's going to come in and I'm going to like it a lot better, and that we may just put Curiosity Chronicles aside. I don't know yet. Exciting things for September. We're going to keep having reading twice a week, keep having math twice a week, but we've added every Thursday. She is going to go to farm school, which is basically working on a full service farm. So that'll be exciting to talk about and update you on. And I hope she loves it. She liked the first day this week, so it went really well. So Luke's schedules are working, but we've just added a lot to our daily, so we're probably just going to do most everything every day except for social studies and history. We're going to pivot a little on history for coming up. We don't have any more trips planned. Still working full time, but I have some vacation coming up in November. So what I try to do is we do every Saturday, Sunday, Monday school. She has farm school on Thursday, which counts for like an ecology. She does 4 days a week of tutoring, which are different days, and then I pick up another day somewhere along the line. So it's either Thursdays or I pick it up like on a vacation that we'll do like 7 days or something. So we end up doing plenty of days. And that's how we roll with our homeschool. And it's been great. And this year's been going great. So that's August. And this has been way chattier than I expected, so sorry. And I'm excited for September and see how it goes.